US markets just had their strongest week in months. S&P 500 up over 5%, Nasdaq 100 up nearly 7%, but as both approach major resistance zones, the big question is now, can this rally continue? Or are we due for a pullback? Let's unpack the signals. The week ending 16th May was explosive for US equities. S&P 500 gained by 5.27%, Nasdaq 100 jumped 6.81%. Both indices opened the week with a gap up and followed through with a strong bullish momentum. It is not just the price. The setup shows they reclaimed key moving averages and now trading well above simple moving average 125, which acted earlier as a resistance. Let's decode market sentiment. Fear and greed index now stands at 71, deep in the greed zone, up from 62 last week. The put call ratio is down to 0.66, showing growing optimism, but still hints of hedging. The VIX is at 17.24, well below its 20-day moving average 25.82. A clear sign that the volatility has cooled off and the traders are getting more comfortable with risk. On macro front, the Fed has continued to hold rates steady as the inflation remains within expectation. Traders are now pricing in higher probability of rate cuts in second half of 2025, which further supports the equity rally. So here is where we stand. Markets are bullish, sentiment is strong, technical momentum is picking up, but both S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100 are now nearing key resistance levels, including previous swings high, supply zones. Let's head to the charts now and decode the possible breakout or pullback scenarios for the upcoming week. This is the weekly price chart of S&P 500 index. The index finally closed at 5,958.38, and this is how it was bullish by 5.27% on week basis. Let us understand the price action. This trend line is acting as a dynamic support from where the index has bounced after a major correction in recent time. What has happened in the last week? There was a gap up opening in the market and ultimately bullish momentum continued. Now, if you see the price action, look at this trend line. Price has taken support here, once again taken support here, and there was a breakdown over here. So this trend line on upside move will act as a resistance, which is also coinciding with the earlier swing high. So 6,013 to 6,122 is likely to act as a resistance. It is always good that the price consolidates over here and then gives a breakout of this rounding pattern, which will be a healthy kind of breakout. And then what will be the next target if it gives a breakout? Let us calculate that. So I am just measuring the height and projecting the target. Then next possible move of S&P 500 could be to 6,900 level, which is very significant. Now, where would be the support? There is an existence of a gap over here. And see the price support over here. So 5,659 to 5,720, which is a gap which is existing, will act as a support. And in this particular zone, which is a demand area, you can see the confluence of EMA 21, which will provide the dynamic support to S&P 500. Look at the daily price chart of S&P 500. What notable observation can be done is EMA 21 has crossed over EMA 55, and now the slope of EMA 21 and EMA 55 are sloping upside. At the same time, price is now trading above SMA 200 and SMA 144, which is very significant. So this zone where the gap exists will provide a good dynamic support. In addition to that, even SMA 144, will act as a dynamic support. Here is a good resistance level, and it is better that the price consolidate over here before gives a breakout of this important trend line and this supply area. Overall trend is extremely bullish. Now the market structure has turned higher highs and higher lows kind of market structure. This is the weekly price chart of Nasdaq 100. This index closed at 21,427.94 and hence it was bullish by 6.81% on week basis. This was the rounding pattern breakout and this is the neckline. During this correction, it tested the neckline and now bouncing. Very important to note is there is a formation of a gap up opening here also and bullish momentum continued throughout the week. Considering the gap over here at 20,249, this becomes the important support area because there is a confluence of EMA 21 as well. Here too it is reaching fast towards the resistance zone, the previous swing high. So 21,500 to 22,000 is the supply zone in Nasdaq 100. So if I calculate the target of this rounding pattern and I'm measuring the depth and projecting it, what it has done, it has attained the target of 61.8% expansion level and then this correction started, which ultimately tested the neckline of this rounding bottom pattern, which is quite a healthy sign. So during the resumption of the trend, the next potential target in long term is 26,364, which is nothing but 100% expansion with respect to the rounding bottom pattern. Look at the daily price chart of Nasdaq 100. Here too EMA 21 has crossed over EMA 55. Now the price is trading above SMA 233, SMA 200 and SMA 144. This is the resistance area where the price had earlier made a swing high. So 21,500 to 22,000 remains to be the supply area. Once this supply area is taken out, so there will be breakout of this rounding pattern, which will push the price higher and the good momentum will develop, which might take the price to 26,364. So we have observed the price action in S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100 are quite strong. Bulls are clearly dominating the market. What do you think? Whether Nasdaq 100 and S&P 500 will make new high in near term? I'll be waiting for your opinion and comments in the comment section of this video. Looking forward to meet you in the next video. सिर्फ देखना ही नहीं, सीखना भी जरूरी है. ज्वाइन करो डीके डायमंड वीकली जूम स्टॉक एनालिसिस 1-to-1 मेंटरशिप. लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन में है. अभी ज्वाइन करो.